Story 1. Communication is not just about talking. It is about listening. You can tell your partner how you feel all day, but if you are not listening and trying to understand their perspective, you are only talking at them. Story 2. Be your own person first. You can't expect another person to complete you or solve all your problems. A good relationship is two whole people coming together to share their lives, not two halves trying to make a whole. Story 3. A relationship should be about more than sex and attraction. It should be with someone you would want to be friends with even if the romantic side were not an option. You should enjoy their company and be able to laugh together. Story 4. Don't settle. I'm not saying you should expect perfection, but you can find someone who meets your essential criteria and whom you're crazy about. Story 5. Ensure the relationship is mutual. Mutual attraction, interest, and love are essential. It should be a two-way street. Story 6. This is more for people in their 20s. It is much better to find a partner you genuinely enjoy doing day-to-day things with, not someone you only have fun with when partying. Story 7. My theory is that you do not truly know someone until you have lived with them for more than 6 months. You will not understand what they are like until you spend a lot of time with them. Story 8. Learning to trust each other is essential. Without trust, a relationship will never grow or flourish. Always be true to yourself, and the same goes for your partner. Pretending that something will eventually be okay is usually not the outcome. Be upfront and speak your mind at all times, even if the truth hurts. Story 9. Each person should consider themselves 100% responsible for the relationship. I should focus on my actions, including any lack of action, and on my words. What am I doing to make sure my significant other feels attractive, loved, and appreciated? Story 10. Sex is not about achieving orgasm. It is about making your partner feel good. Story 11. You cannot change your partner. Too many people waste years trying to change a bad partner into a good one instead of leaving and finding the right partner. Misaligned desires for sexuality and intimacy never get better. See the Dead Bedrooms subreddit for ample evidence that staying in a sexually mismatched relationship only breeds misery and resentment that build and continue to build. No amount of counseling, conversations, medical tests, or other efforts will fix a dead bedroom. The same goes for other intimacy problems. Do not take my word for it. See for yourself. Abusive partners do not change. At the very first instance of disrespect from your partner, leave. If you stay, repeated incidents will continue chipping away at you until you begin to believe your abuser's claims that you are worthless and that nobody else will want you. Read the book Why Does He Do That? The author, who specializes in domestic violence counseling, says that you should always leave your abuser unless you fear for your life if you leave. In that case, the author gives advice on how to navigate the situation and how to get out as safely as possible if you choose to try. Many relationship problems stem from people believing they can change their partners. That is a false expectation. Story 12. Manage your expectations. No one is perfect. It is good to want more for yourself, but sometimes take time to truly understand the person you are with and meet them where they are. Otherwise, you will be disappointed when they do not meet your expectations. Grow with the person and always communicate what you want or need from them. Story 13. 1. Listen to each other and accept what you learn about one another. A common mistake is falling in love with who we think someone is or could be, instead of who they actually are. 2. Be on the same page about major issues such as whether to have children and whether to live in an urban or rural area. Some things cannot be negotiated. Someone will end up unhappy and the resentment will chip away at your love. 3. Choose your battles. Does it really matter what color the towels are? Fighting over small things is like crying wolf. Offer your opinion calmly and kindly, then let it go. Save the big disagreements for when it really matters, unless you want your partner to think. Here they go again. 4. Keep your finances separate. Agree on a fair amount for shared expenses. Then each of you keeps the rest of your income to spend as you like. Money often creates friction, so agree early on how you will manage it. Story 14. Being yourself will attract the person you seek. There will be maybes and pretenders who come and go, but the one for you will see you, not what they want you to be. Story 15. Stay single until you find someone who puts in the same effort as you do. Story 16. Sometimes the butterflies you feel are just anxiety because your relationship is stressful and your partner's behavior is inconsistent. When you get attention back, you feel those butterflies. Sometimes you really are living in a romance novel where your partner genuinely gives you those butterflies. Story 17. Treat others the way you wish to be treated. Let go of resentment. We are all flawed to some degree. Story 18. Always take time for a little act of affection every day. Story 19. In the end, someone is going to get hurt. It does not matter whether you break up after a few months of fun or after decades of devotion. Someone may end up crushed and heartbroken. Only you can determine if the pain is worth the journey. I was widowed last year at age 43. My late husband and I were together for 25 years. I found out about his 15-year affair a few days after he died. Edit. I was thinking about how potentially bitter my advice could sound, which made me think of my aunt. She was widowed a few months after I was. My aunt and uncle were married for a bit over 50 years. Their marriage was exactly the beautiful relationship we all thought it was. When my uncle passed, it still left my aunt crushed and heartbroken. That is why I say only you can know if the pain of ending is worth the joy of trying. Story 20. If you want your relationship to last, both partners must proactively seek to outdo one another in sacrificial, unconditional love and respect throughout their lives. Love means practicing the 5 love languages with one another. Love and respect also mean patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control, complete loyalty, and freedom from jealousy, arrogance, and selfishness. Neither partner should have a short temper. Both must learn to forgive and forget and to give each other the benefit of the doubt instead of assuming the worst. When problems arise, do not ignore them. Face them together with humility, open communication, and listening without interruption. Address issues while they are still small and do not abandon each other when life gets tough. Endure life storms together while continuing to practice the principles above. Story 21. Run, don't walk, at the first red flag. People don't change 9 times out of 10. Don't tolerate someone who uses religion or nitpicking to control you. Story 22. Compromise on small things. Core values are non-negotiable. Learn when to walk away and how to communicate. There is no such thing as constructive criticism. It is just criticism. Story 23. You all have to be friends too. You have to really like the person. Story 24. If you are not good with yourself, you will never be good for someone else. Story 25. Sometimes it's just better to be single than with the wrong person. Story 26. When you think you are about to do something that might push your partner away, imagine your life 5 years from now and ask yourself whether your life would be better alone or with your current partner. Story 27. You are both going to have bad days. Do not get mad. Be supportive. Story 28. Relationships, whether platonic or romantic, need to be a two-way street with a balance of give and take. It does not have to be 50-50. If a relationship becomes a source of stress rather than happiness, reassess whether it can be fixed and end it if not. Many of us stay because of the sunk cost fallacy and fear of change. Story 29. My advice is that you do not really know someone until you have been with them for about 5 years. Even then, you will not have seen every side of them. Make sure you can accept every side because that is who they are and they cannot change. If you cannot accept that, you should leave. Story 30. Communication is hard. We often have voices, feelings, or visualizations triggered quickly, and sometimes people immediately say the first thing that comes to mind. I've been trying to create more space between what I feel and the moment I decide to act or speak. I have realized that many things I say to others are actually meant for me. I have not given myself enough time to hear them. For example, when someone says, "You say, I miss you," too exaggeratedly, that might be their internal voice speaking to themselves rather than to you. The biggest issue is that once you notice this, you see people talking to themselves most of the time. That can hurt because no amount of words or demonstrations will make them aware. It feels like something you have to absorb and simply observe. My conclusion is that 80% of what people say to you is meant for themselves, and that can apply to you as well. Your best tool is to learn to talk to yourself. Create parts of yourself and a mental playground where you truly understand yourself and can explore different personalities that make things more playful. This is a byproduct of mastering communication. You can practice it with others or in your mind, and it will develop naturally because we repeat things in our heads the same way we talk to ourselves. Story 31. In time, initial chemistry will calm down, and what you're left with is the key to longevity. The greatest advantage in a relationship is finding someone who is your best friend as well as your lover. Story 32. Do not rush anything. Do not act differently to keep someone close to you. That is forcing yourself. Love should be easy, not something to overthink. Story 33. It's not 50-50. It's 100% for both sides. When one is struggling, the other is fully there. Story 34. Choose a partner for whom you are willing to make sacrifices and who deserves them. Story 35. Communicate about everything, not just how you feel or what you like during sex, which is also very important. Clearly state your boundaries, your expectations, what you want and need, and what you think is and is not appropriate in a relationship. Do not settle for someone who is not serious enough about the relationship to talk about these things. Story 36. You cannot change another person. In a relationship, do not spend your life trying to change the other person to suit your preferences. Change yourself first and let your example inspire them to change voluntarily. Story 37. Don't waste anyone's precious time if you're not into them. Your loneliness is yours to manage. Story 38. I cannot begin to tell you how many situations could have been avoided if people had communicated openly with me. I dated some seemingly compatible people, but their poor communication made it hard to know where I stood with them. Story 39. If it's that much trouble, they may not be worth it. Choose someone who complements your life, not someone who tries to overtake it. Story 40. Find someone who remains respectful when angry. Avoid people who never show anger. Story 41. It might sound extremely corny, but just be yourself. The best relationships come from people who like you entirely, not just one part. They accept you as you are. Story 42. Friendship and truly knowing each other are important because conflict will happen. You both should reach a point where you do not take personal offense at things and can assume the other would not intentionally try to hurt you, making forgiveness easier. If you or the other person constantly feels slighted by actions or words, the friendship's foundation may be weak, or there may be a significant incompatibility. Work on these issues throughout the relationship. Story 43. Learn how your significant other expresses their emotions. Your job is to love, support, and understand them, not control them. Learn to cultivate happiness on your own before entering a relationship. Often they just want to vent. Validate their feelings and listen without trying to intellectually solve their problems. Then ask if there is anything they need from you. Story 44. Always make time to communicate and listen, even if your partner is just ranting about traffic. Never leave an important or sensitive topic for later or tomorrow unless they are not ready to talk about it yet. Make them feel heard. Be a good teammate. Compromise, listen to their concerns, and do not be afraid to offer input. Back up your words with actions. Story 45. Don't let alcohol become your routine. It will destroy your relationship. Story 46. Stop making your relationship or partner your entire identity. Don't think a partner is your savior. Life is worth living without one. Story 47. If you cannot talk about your hobbies because you feel they will get excited, it will not work. Story 48. Don't burn the bridge unless you really mean it. I've had some terrible fights with my wife of almost 15 years, and luckily we were able to work things out. I'm thankful to have her now. Story 49. Accept yourself as you are, but always respect your partner's feelings. Strive to improve and keep falling in love with each other as if it were the first time. Story 50. Understand who you are before you search for those answers in someone else. Story 51. No one is a perfect communicator, but if you cannot trust them to be honest during hard or important conversations, you should probably cut your losses and leave. If they are unwilling to be honest with you or themselves, it simply will not work. That is not to say communication cannot be worked on. It can, but if the red flags are there, do not ignore them. Story 52. Never stop working on it, take your partner for granted, or ignore a problem. Story 53. The best advice I have ever received is that a relationship should be 60-40, and both people should strive to be the 60. Story 54. Don't ignore red flags, including things you've heard about their past. Do not try to be their white knight or savior. Choose a partner who immediately and consistently adds to your life. Accept that attraction and passion do not mean they are your person or that you should be together. Learn to let go before a relationship takes root, and be honest about what they bring into your life, for better or worse. Story 55. The best relationships are built between people who do not need one another but choose each other. Story 56. Fight more, but do it right for a better relationship so you both win. Story 57. Consider a scale of human behavior in a relationship where 10 means the other person does everything for you, is completely devoted to pleasing you and making you happy, and thinks of your needs before their own. On the other end, 1 means they are actively trying to murder you or otherwise destroy you. The middle, 5.5, means they are neutral, not trying to help you or do you favors, but also not trying to make you angry, upset, or hurt you either physically or emotionally. Never be in a relationship with anyone who goes below 5.5, even when they are angry or upset with you. At their best, a partner will be devoted, surprise you with a gift, or make your favorite meal. When upset, they might drop to 5.5, meaning they are not going out of their way to make you happy but are not actively trying to hurt your feelings. You should never be with anyone who actively tries to hurt you emotionally, mentally, or physically. Story 58. First, secure yourself. Girls want a man who can give her security. If you do not have a promising future, she will eventually leave. Also, never let the spark fade away. Little gestures mean a lot. Always remember that love and respect are both two-way streets. You give them and you take them. Story 59. Communicate, even when it is uncomfortable, without anger, and give each other space. If someone wants your only hobby to be them, reconsider that relationship. Story 60. Do not look for problems when there are not any. Be happy. Story 61. If your partner gives you peace of mind and an escape from your problems, they are the one. Story 62. Honestly, don't sweat the small stuff. Being in a relationship where every tiny thing becomes a huge deal is exhausting and unsustainable. I see posts here all the time about couples arguing over stupid, benign things, and it's not a way to live. Let the little things go. Story 63. You might think the small stuff does not matter, but to coin a statistic, 98% of life is small stuff crammed between emergencies. If you can do small acts that help your partner and improve their life, you would be amazed how much that expression of care can matter. Likewise, if your significant other does things like cleaning the sink or putting the laundry in the hamper when they visit, notice it, appreciate it, and thank them. If you find someone who is willing to sweat the small stuff for you, and you enjoy doing small things to make them smile, they are the keeper you want in your life. Story 64. Having the mindset of us versus the problem instead of you versus me allows me to be more patient and caring with my partner during arguments. Story 65. Don't ignore the red flags. Compliment each other often. Talk about when you are hurt and when you are happy. Don't make decisions for each other. Make sure you understand your partner's boundaries and that they understand yours. If you are making sacrifices, understand what you are sacrificing and whether it is worth it. Some things are not worth it. For example, if your partner wants you to cut off relationships with people close to you. Story 66. Trying to stay angry takes effort. Do not waste time and energy being angry at your partner. We sometimes get upset by things they do or say, but staying angry is a choice. You can stay angry or move on depending on the situation. Story 67. Be yourself. There is no sense in hiding certain flaws when, ultimately, time will reveal them. A person worth keeping can deal with the icks. Story 68. Don't assume the worst of your partner. In healthy relationships, Practice intentional positive regard. Story 69. If you are a man, focus on your appearance and improve it as much as possible, because it will matter more than anything else when it comes to dating. I have seen many men who are emotionally immature and who have little to offer beyond their height and looks. These men often seem to be the only ones who have success dating. Story 70. The little things matter more than you might think. Work on them. Communicate openly and empathetically. Do not ignore small issues. Story 71. Communication. Unrealistic expectations and assumptions will slowly destroy a relationship. Many problems arise from skirting around issues that could be solved with one tough conversation. Story 72. Pay attention to how they treat you when they're mad. That's the real version of them. Story 73. I am not an expert, but accept that you will get hurt and may hurt your partner. It will happen at some point. What matters is how you and your partner react and whether you can talk through it and come out of that conversation. Story 74. Communicate. Have the awkward, tough discussions. They will keep you honest with each other about what is going on with you, with them, and with your relationship. Lack of communication breeds so many other problems and will destroy the relationship. Story 75. Walking away can sometimes be the most loving thing you can do. Story 76. Arguments or disagreements don't mean the relationship is inherently bad or doomed. The point is to practice communication and emotional regulation on both sides as much as possible. It will never be perfect and it takes work, but if both people actively put in the effort, it will pay off with a closer bond and greater strength in the relationship. Story 77. Stay out of relationships with alcoholics and people who steal your peace. I am 55 and single. I have more peace and serenity now than at any other time in my life. Story 78. A relationship is work for both partners. Your needs are as important as theirs. Communicate not only by talking but also by listening. Story 79. Ask yourself, am I giving my partner 100% and doing everything I can for them every day? If not, do not be in a relationship. Story 80. You can't fix broken people and they can't fix your daddy issues either. Story 81. Make sure they are not a hyper-Christian, evolution-denying Republican lesbian who is using you as their straight cover story. But that may have been my case. Story 82. Even when you get married or enter a relationship, retain your own identity, interests, goals, and dreams. Support your partner in theirs and expect them to support you in yours. Have your own bank account and earn your own money. Do not settle for less. Also, choose someone who makes you laugh and feel great inside and out. Story 83. Honest communication. Everything can be talked through if you are willing. Do not be afraid to be the first to bring something up. Story 84. When someone tells you they feel unloved, pay attention. Story 85. Know when your life goals are taking you in opposite directions and end the relationship. Some things are fundamentally incompatible. No compromise will help, and pretending it is not a problem helps no one. Story 86. Almost every relationship will end, so enjoy it while it lasts. Story 87. Teach me how to love you, and let me love you in my own way. Let me incorporate our ideologies. Let us meet in the middle. Story 88. If you are a man married to a woman, give her a break. You are lucky to have someone. She will be very hard to replace. Story 89. No one is perfect. Both of you will have to accept each other's flaws. Communication, self-reflection, and awareness are key. Story 90. Follow your heart. If you really love someone, move mountains to be with them. If you do not want to be in a relationship, leave today. If something you think is the right thing is holding you back, you are wrong, and it will eat at you every day for the rest of your life if you do not end up with the person you truly love. Also, seek therapy for yourself, for your future relationships, and for the people around you. Story 91. For me, she has to be my best friend. I have to be able to share everything with her. Story 92. Avoid the mentality of, oh, this is not that big of a deal, so I am just not going to say anything. That approach leads to habitually bottling up feelings and then having impulsive, emotionally driven outbursts. It is natural to be upset now and then in a relationship, but keeping feelings inside often leads to saying hurtful, regrettable things. Story 93. Really look inward. Are you saying or acting out because you are resenting, trying to hurt, trying to punish, or being defensive? If that is too hard, start with therapy. Story 94. If something is not working, do not be afraid to end it. Many people avoid breakups and instead suffer. Surprise, the relationship is not happy. Do not stay with someone for the sake of it. You will be better off in the long run, and so will the other person. Story 95. Integrity is the most important factor. Women need to vet their partners carefully. I think they don't even care. My friend, who has 2 mothers and 3 children, is dating a 28-year-old who knows all this. Story 96. The best advice I received in my early 20s was this. You can love someone with all your heart, and they can still be the wrong person for you. Love yourself a little more than your partner. Story 97. Maya Angelou's advice is, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. This wisdom encourages accepting a person's true nature when they reveal it through actions and words rather than expecting them to change. Trusting this initial understanding can prevent disappointment and save you heartache in the future. Story 98. Do not disrespect or betray the person who stood by you when you had nothing. Story 99. As a friend of mine once said, women are like parking spaces. If you spend too much time searching for the ideal one, you will only find spaces that are either paid or reserved for persons with disabilities. Story 100. Men will sacrifice their happiness for their family. Women will sacrifice their family for their happiness. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.